1963 felt like a cinematic crossroads where spectacle, satire, suspense, and introspection collided in unforgettable ways. Studios were still pouring money into grand epics, yet directors were increasingly questioning identity, morality, and the mechanics of storytelling itself. It was a year when movie stars commanded massive audiences, but auteurs quietly redefined what films could express. Lavish historical dramas stood alongside razor-sharp comedies and psychological experiments. Audiences escaped into widescreen adventure while also confronting darker corners of the human mind. The industry was stretching in every direction at once, testing the limits of scale, tone, and genre. What makes 1963 remarkable is not just the size of its productions, but the confidence behind them. These films did not hesitate. They embraced ambition, risk, and personality. Together, they shaped the cinematic language of the decade and left a blueprint that filmmakers still follow, borrow from, and challenge today.
Cleopatra stands as one of the most extravagant productions in film history, a spectacle defined as much by its off-screen drama as its on-screen grandeur. Directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz and starring Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, the film became synonymous with excess. Lavish sets, thousands of costumes, and sprawling battle scenes pushed studio finances to the brink. Yet, beneath the opulence lies a character-driven epic exploring power, seduction, and political strategy. Taylor's commanding performance anchors the narrative, portraying Cleopatra as both strategist and romantic figure. The chemistry between Taylor and Burton added cultural fascination, blurring lines between performance and reality. Though criticized for length and budget overruns, the film demonstrated the enduring allure of historical spectacle. Cleopatra ultimately reshaped Hollywood economics, forcing studios to reconsider unchecked spending, while proving that cinematic ambition could still command global attention on a monumental scale.
Charade. Charade sparkles as a romantic thriller that effortlessly merges suspense with sophisticated wit. Directed by Stanley Donen, the film pairs Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant in a story of mistaken identities, hidden fortunes, and shifting allegiances. Set against picturesque Parisian backdrops, the cinematography enhances both glamour and intrigue. Grant's suave confidence plays beautifully against Hepburn's vulnerable intelligence, creating chemistry that fuels every twist. Henry Mancini's playful score underscores the film's tonal balance, ensuring tension never overwhelms charm. The screenplay keeps audiences guessing while maintaining breezy elegance rarely matched in modern thrillers. Charade cleverly sidesteps genre rigidity, functioning as mystery, romance, and comedy simultaneously. Its stylish blend of star power and narrative surprise influenced later romantic capers. Decades later, it remains a model of how to craft suspense without sacrificing sophistication or emotional warmth.
Shock Corridor. Shock Corridor stands one of Samuel Fuller's most provocative works, plunging audiences into psychological and social turmoil. The film follows ambitious journalist who feigns insanity to investigate murder inside a psychiatric hospital. Fuller's stark black-and-white cinematography intensifies claustrophobic setting, reflecting fractured mental states. Rather than subtle allegory, the film directly confronts racism, nuclear paranoia, and Cold War anxiety through inmates' delusions. Peter Brecht delivers committed performance, portraying ambition spiraling into genuine instability. Fuller's blunt dialogue and confrontational style challenge viewers rather than comforting them. Limited budget becomes a strength, focusing attention on performances and thematic urgency. Shock Corridor blurred boundaries between exploitation and social commentary, influencing later independent filmmakers unafraid of controversy. Its unfiltered approach to taboo subjects marked a bold departure from sanitized studio fare, reinforcing cinema's capacity to provoke as well as entertain.
The Great Escape. The Great Escape transformed a World War II prison break into an ensemble adventure that balanced tension with camaraderie. Directed by John Sturges, the film gathered an international cast led by Steve McQueen, whose motorcycle sequence became instantly iconic. Rather than focusing solely on action, the narrative emphasizes meticulous planning, teamwork, and resilience under confinement.
Elmer Bernstein's rousing score reinforces the spirit of defiance threading through the camp's tunnels and secret operations. Shot in expansive outdoor locations, the film avoids claustrophobia, creating visual contrast between captivity and longing for freedom. While based on true events, it embraces cinematic pacing that heightens suspense without sacrificing emotional stakes. The Great Escape influenced decades of war films by blending procedural detail with character-driven storytelling. Its mix of heroism, sacrifice, and subtle humor cemented its place as an enduring benchmark for ensemble adventure cinema.
8½. Federico Fellini's 8½, redefined autobiographical filmmaking by turning creative paralysis into visual poetry. Centered on a director struggling to complete his next project, the film blurs memory, fantasy, and reality with fluid transitions. Marcello Mastroianni embodies artistic uncertainty, wandering through dreamlike sequences that question identity and inspiration. Fellini abandons conventional structure, allowing scenes to unfold like fragments of subconscious thought. Nino Rota's whimsical score complements the film's shifting moods, enhancing its surreal atmosphere. Rather than presenting a tidy narrative, 8½, invites audiences into the chaos of artistic process itself. Its influence extends across generations of filmmakers exploring self-reflection and nonlinear storytelling. By dismantling traditional plot expectations, Fellini elevated cinema into introspective art form. 8½, stands as landmark achievement, demonstrating that personal doubt and creative struggle can produce universally resonant and visually daring cinematic experiences.
The Birds. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds replaced conventional monsters with ordinary creatures, transforming nature into unpredictable threat. Set in a quiet California town, the film builds tension through unexplained attacks that escalate in frequency and intensity. Hitchcock famously avoids a musical score, relying instead on electronic sound effects and silence to heighten unease. Tippi Hedren's poised performance anchors the escalating chaos, grounding spectacle in personal vulnerability. The special effects, innovative for their time, created visceral imagery that remains unsettling. Unlike typical horror narratives, the film offers no clear explanation or resolution, leaving dread suspended in ambiguity. The Birds demonstrated how atmosphere and suggestion could surpass graphic violence in impact. Its refusal to provide answers marked a departure from formulaic storytelling. By turning everyday settings into arenas of terror, Hitchcock reinforced his mastery of suspense while expanding possibilities for psychological horror cinema.
It's a mad, 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 mad world, epitomizes large-scale comedic chaos, assembling an extraordinary ensemble cast for a sprawling treasure hunt narrative. Directed by Stanley Kramer, the film combines slapstick spectacle with road movie structure, sending characters racing across California in pursuit of hidden fortune. Shot in Ultra Panvision 70, its expansive frame amplifies physical gags and elaborate stunts. Comedic legends including Spencer Tracy, Milton Berle, and Sid Caesar collide in escalating absurdity. Despite its broad humor, the film cleverly satirizes greed and competitive obsession. The meticulous stunt work and practical effects showcase ambitious production values rarely matched in comedy. Its length and ambition mirror epic dramas of the era, yet tone remains gleefully irreverent. The film influenced ensemble comedies and chase narratives for decades. By blending widescreen spectacle with relentless humor, it redefined how grand-scale filmmaking could serve laughter instead of solemnity.
HUD presents stark portrait of moral decay set against Texas ranching backdrop. Directed by Martin Ritt, the film stars Paul Newman in one of his most complex roles, portraying a charismatic yet deeply flawed antihero. Shot in striking black and white by cinematographer James Wong Howe, the visuals emphasize the emotional harshness of open landscapes. Patricia Neal's performance adds grounded resilience, earning Academy Award recognition. The narrative centers on generational conflict and ethical compromise, rejecting romanticized Western ideals. HUD's unapologetic depiction of selfishness challenged audience expectations for leading men. Rather than offering redemption, the film confronts consequences of arrogance and moral emptiness.
Its realism and character-driven tension foreshadowed the grittier dramas of later decades. HUD remains landmark study of flawed masculinity and shifting American values, demonstrating that cinematic heroes could be magnetic without being admirable.
Tom Jones bursts with irreverent energy, adapting Henry Fielding's novel into kinetic period comedy. Directed by Tony Richardson, the film employs direct address, freeze frames, and playful narration to break classical storytelling conventions. Albert Finney's exuberant performance anchors the chaos, portraying charming rogue navigating romantic misadventures. The editing style feels modern and mischievous, accelerating pacing beyond typical costume dramas. Rather than rever adaptation, the film embraces body humor and social satire. Its playful tone contrasts sharply with solemn historical epics of the era. Winning the Academy Award for Best Picture, Tom Jones signaled appetite for experimentation within mainstream cinema. The film's lively camera work and irreverent narration influenced later historical comedies. By blending literary roots with contemporary style, it bridged gap between tradition and innovation, redefining how period stories could engage modern audiences.
The Pink Panther. The Pink Panther introduced audiences to Inspector Jacques Clouseau, though the character's full comedic potential would bloom in sequels. Directed by Blake Edwards, the film blends sophisticated caper elements with physical comedy. Peter Sellers' portrayal of Clouseau steals focus, transforming minor role into enduring comic icon. Henry Mancini's jazzy theme became instantly recognizable, enhancing playful elegance. Set against glamorous European locales, the story revolves around jewel theft and romantic entanglements. The humor balances slapstick mishaps with subtle timing, establishing franchise tone. Edwards' direction maintains polished aesthetic even as chaos unfolds. While initially marketed around David Niven's character, audience reaction elevated Sellers to central figure. The Pink Panther reshaped comedic detective archetype, influencing countless parodies and genre hybrids. Its mix of style, music, and character-driven humor cemented its legacy within popular culture.
The cinematic achievements of 1963 reveal industry stretching its imagination across genres and continents. Monumental epics coexisted with intimate character studies, while comedies expanded in scale and art films turned inward. Directors experimented with narrative structure, sound design, and moral ambiguity, setting stage for transformative years ahead. Star power remained influential, yet storytelling grew more daring and self-aware. These films collectively illustrate balance between spectacle and introspection that defined early 60s cinema. Their legacy endures not simply through nostalgia, but through techniques and themes filmmakers continue to revisit. Whether through psychological tension, lavish production, or satirical wit, each title contributed to evolving language of film. 1963 was not merely productive year, it was pivotal chapter in cinematic history, shaping expectations of what movies could accomplish artistically and culturally for generations to come.